Hey, good morning. How is everyone doing out there? This is Marcus Thomas, Yellow Nation Motivation, and I read something really awesome last night. Some people gave me a really good topic, so I just wanted to read it with y'all, and hopefully it can help somebody. I enjoyed it. So the topic for today is having a poor me mentality, and I think that's very important because a lot of people, because of tragedy or things that happen in their life, maybe on purpose or inadvertently, they become a victim. So, having this mentality, it develops over time, I think, and this is important because if you are not careful with your life, you can become a victim of your circumstances. You know, things can happen to you out of your control, and then out of the comfort or the sympathy that you can elicit from others, it can become intoxicating to you. It can become something that you start to thrive off of. And I think that's dangerous, because, it's like before you know it, the poor me mentality becomes your defense for life, and everything that happens to you, you feel like, well, it's because of things that happened in the past that I should get a pass on actively always trying in life, so. And I think, when you start to have a poor me mentality, you put the basis of your success on how others respond to you, or, how they see you. And I know we all have heard or know people who go through similar situations in life, but they were able to achieve different outcomes, maybe raised around drugs, and like one becomes a drug addict and the other is a CEO at a company, like why is that? They went through the same stressors, but they had different outcomes in life, and I believe that it's an individual decision, once you mature and you are able to make your own way out. I feel then you can no longer use your circumstances as an excuse not to be successful. See, because some people were so victimized when they were young that they grow up with a mentality that I refuse to be a victim anymore. They may have grown up with a parent that drunk or that was abusive, and instead of themselves becoming abusive or drunk, they are the exact opposite because they understand the impact that had on their life, and they refuse to do that to anyone else. And more importantly, I think they refuse to be a victim anymore. And that's what you got to do. You got to combat the like that poor me feeling, because it can happen to anybody at any given time, because life happens to all of us. And you don't want to start making excuses for yourself, or giving yourself a back door to escape problems instead of confronting them. you know because if you don't, you can fall into a cycle of always being the victim. And see, this is such a dangerous topic because culturally, and depending on if you're a male or a female or other things, you can become a victim through it. Because and I mean, I'm not just limited to that, because there's a lot of ethnic groups and things that happen that was sad, that was tragic in life. But I'm mainly talking about African Americans, because we come from such an abusive and tormented history, through slavery and through segregation and all these other things that happen. And that's why I believe that it's easy to get stuck in victim mode. I don't have a job because nobody will help me, or they won't help me because I'm black, or because I'm a woman, or because I'm old, or because I'm young. I didn't get the promotion because I'm black, and it just never ends sometimes. And I know we've all seen that. And now I'm not saying that some of these instances can't be true, but not everyone in life is going to hold you back just because your skin color. you know so I think it can be intoxicating, for you to develop the dependency on being a victim, because a victim elicits a lot of sympathy from people and sometimes get shortcuts or free things in life. So, I'm not saying, everybody patting you on the back, telling you it's going to be okay, is not always a bad thing. But when you live your life based on that, I think you just undercutting yourself and your success, So, and I think, and also, faith, which is the most important key to success to me, and if you're not careful, your poor me mentality can infect your faith, so to where you pray differently, you ask for stuff from people differently, I know we all have heard people who pray for the more, silly things and, more frivolous stuff in life. They'll say, or the one I really can't stand is, well, if I'm meant to have it, God will send it to me, or you will get all, or you'll get it, if God wants you to have it, or you can get up off your butt and go get it and God will help you along the way, but the thing that I don't understand about it, if God will bless someone else and you think that it's within his power to get me or to get another person or a situation to work out in your favor, then why do you limit God by asking him then through a second party? It's you, so you should ask. Why wouldn't he do it for you? If he did it for everybody else, so I feel like if you can believe God can put it in someone else's heart to give you something, then you can believe God can raise your income so that you won't need these things, So the Bible said in Numbers, we remember the fish that we did eat freely in Egypt. See, but to me, it just means we remember what we got for free. We remember what we were able to elicit from people out of sympathy, But we all know, in a sense, nothing in this world is free, because did you know that your integrity can be a currency as well? Almost like we can get hooked on other people's mercy. But all of this can have an impact on your self-esteem and your perception on life, and so you got to be careful. I understand if things in your life is bad and you need it at that time, but did you need food stamps for 18 years? I don't want people to support me if it's out of pity or out of, well, he deserves a break. He had a hard time in life. Well, I don't need a 10-year break, See, because it will come a point where I don't work my way through any problems anymore. I just wait for people, or I hunt for people to join my pity party, hoping to find shelter under other people's umbrella, from life, and I think for a lot of people, the trauma may be over, but I'm still addicted to the response my suffering elicits from others, and it's like, see, but the danger can be, you can be liberated on all fronts and still not be happy when you had that poor me mentality. See, but that's why so many people can't get healed or a good job or a great husband or wife, because they really don't want it, See, because to them being a victim is easier, So back to the story in the Bible, they remembered the fish and all the free stuff, but forgot how they had to work all day in the sun, getting beat all the time. They remember what suits them. They remember the sympathy and not having to work for things in life. God freed them, yet in a way they wish that he never did. So see, we have to be careful wishing for the past, because we tend to remember the good and not the bad, that comes with that good. See, there's something about freedom, I think, that scares people. How many of us know people who go back and forth to jail or go back and forth to a relationship over and over again, knowing that nothing has changed and they're going to run into the same problems that they did before, but yet they keep going back to them. It's like the same thing where how they say a relationship can, evolve between a kidnapped victim and their kidnapper. See, because it becomes familiar almost normal over time. You know, we have seriously got to watch this. You know, so back to my story. You know, so it's like, how many people are willing to go back to being a slave for a meal? Or, you know, how many people are willing to go back to problems over and over again, hoping that they work out differently this time? You know, I mean, it's sad. It really is. And, you know, so they said to them, you know, they said, you know, it's dried up. There's nothing at all besides this manna that fell from heaven. I mean, they overlooked the fact that this stuff has fell from heaven. You know, it didn't grow in the ground, you know, but they didn't see that, you know. See, but the nourishment that they received from the manna, it went well beyond their stomachs. All that walking that they did, but one thing that I found significant about the story was, like, they walked for 40 years and their shoes never wore out. You never heard them talking about we had to get new clothes or new shoes, you know. So from that, I took, you know, he gave them that manna, did much more than just, you know, fed their stomach. You know, it fed their soul. It fed, all their needs was met, you know, but yet they still complained, you know. And I think it was, they wanted to still be the victim, you know. See, we must start being the head and not the tail if we really want to be successful, you know. If only to break the cycle, you know, so that you don't pass it on to your children. Or, you know, sometimes we pass stuff on to each other and it's not our children, you know, our co-workers or our friends. You know, we can infect them with this same mentality if we're not careful, you know. See, because we have to put ourselves in a different light in this world, or the world will just always underestimate us, you know, and it'll never take you serious. You know, God wants us to switch roles, you know. That's why one of the favorite things that I've learned, you know, and read in the Bible that I keep with me is, it says, lend and not borrow, you know, to be somebody else's answer, you know. Like, so, and another one that I like, it said, you know, give and it shall be given unto you, you know. So if any of this sounds familiar, you know, I would like you to try to break the chain of that today, you know. You know that you will never know your true worth and capability while your destiny is dependent on charity. You know, so that's all I have for today. I enjoyed that a lot. I hope that you did too. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. As always, it's mostly for me, but if I can help somebody else through this, then I'm very happy about that. Thank you for all the support I've got. It's really been awesome. I love you all. I'm going to drop some links below. Please check them out. And that's all I have. And let's go be great.